Right now, if your baby won't stop crying at 3 a.m., you have options. A pediatrician you can call in the morning, a pharmacy down the street, a white noise machine, a stroller built with suspension systems engineers spent years perfecting. Maybe a partner to tap on the shoulder and say, "Your turn." Now take all of that away. No pediatrician, no pharmacy, no machine that hums a fake ocean sound. Just you, a crying baby, in the dark, with predators somewhere out there who can hear exactly where that sound is coming from. For almost all of human history, a crying baby wasn't just exhausting, it was dangerous. So the question is simple. How did ancient mothers survive the sleepless nights and keep their babies alive while doing it? The answer involves the entire community, the human body itself, and one surprising reason babies might cry the way they do in the first place. The first problem was the most immediate one. A crying baby is loud, and loud is dangerous. In the ancient world, sound traveled. A crying infant in the middle of the night could attract exactly the kind of attention no one wanted, predators who hunted by sound, or rival groups scouting the area. So ancient mothers couldn't just let a baby cry it out in a separate room. There was no separate room. There was no distance to put between the sound and the danger. The solution came down to the body itself. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies have found that infants in these cultures are almost never left to cry alone for long. Mothers respond within seconds, not minutes. Constant physical closeness, carrying the baby against the body throughout the day, and sleeping close together at night, meant a mother could soothe a cry before it escalated into the kind of sound that traveled far. But staying constantly close to a baby all day creates a new problem. How does a mother get anything else done? This is where ancient mothers solved something modern parents often face completely alone. They didn't do it alone. Remember alloparenting, the practice where multiple members of a community help raise a child? This applied directly to nighttime care as well. Anthropologists studying groups like the Efe people of Central Africa found that infants were cared for and even nursed by multiple women in the community, not just the biological mother. Grandmothers, aunts, and other women regularly took over care during parts of the night, allowing the exhausted mother actual periods of uninterrupted rest. This wasn't occasional babysitting. In many hunter-gatherer societies, an infant might be held by several different caregivers within a single day, spreading the physical and emotional load of round-the-clock care across the entire group. A modern mother, alone in a quiet house at 3 a.m., is in many ways facing something ancient mothers were never expected to face by themselves. But even with help, there was still the baby itself to understand. Why do babies cry like this in the first place? Here's a question worth asking. Why are human babies so much harder to soothe than the babies of almost any other animal? The answer goes back to something we've covered before, the obstetrical dilemma. Human babies are born earlier and less developed than other primates, because a fully developed baby's head would be too large to safely deliver. This means human infants are born with underdeveloped nervous systems. They can't regulate their own body temperature well. They can't self-soothe. They have no concept of day or night yet. Researchers studying infant sleep patterns argue that human babies are essentially born 3 to 4 months premature compared to other primates, specifically because of this evolutionary trade-off. This is likely why human infants cry more and more intensely than the infants of almost any other species. Their brains and bodies are still finishing development that other animals complete before birth. Ancient mothers weren't dealing with a badly behaved baby. They were dealing with a biological reality baked into the entire human species. Understanding this still doesn't make the exhaustion disappear, though. So what actually got a baby to sleep? Ancient mothers developed techniques that modern research is only now confirming actually work. Constant motion was one of the most important. Anthropological observation shows that infants carried in slings against a moving adult's body cry significantly less than infants left stationary. The rhythmic motion of walking mimics the movement infants experienced constantly in the womb. Modern studies on infant soothing have confirmed something ancient mothers already knew instinctively. Rhythmic rocking combined with close physical contact reduces crying more effectively than almost any other single method. Sound played a role too. Humming, soft rhythmic vocalizations, and the mother's own heartbeat, easily heard when a baby is held against the chest, are now understood to have a genuinely calming effect on infant nervous systems. None of this required tools or technology. It required a body in motion close to another body, But even the most exhausted mother eventually needed real sleep herself. So how did the group make sure she actually got it? Here's the twist that changes how you should think about all of this. We tend to imagine the sleepless, overwhelmed new mother as a uniquely modern struggle, something families are expected to muscle through alone, in a quiet house, with no help until morning. But that isolation is the unusual part of the story, not the historical norm. For most of human history, a crying baby at night was not one woman's problem to solve by herself. It was distributed across grandmothers, aunts, and other women in the group, built into how these societies functioned. Some researchers argue that modern parenting, with a single exhausted parent handling nighttime care alone in an isolated household, may be one of the most unusual arrangements in the entire history of human child-rearing. Ancient mothers weren't tougher than modern mothers. They simply were never expected to do this part alone. So here's the full picture: the noise problem, and they answered it with constant closeness; the exhaustion problem, and they answered it with a community that shared the load through the night; the biology of an underdeveloped infant nervous system, something built into being human at all; and the soothing itself, solved with nothing more than motion, warmth, and a heartbeat close enough to hear. Every sleepless night an ancient mother survived was never truly hers to survive alone. And now, look at the modern world: a crying baby at 3 a.m., a single exhausted parent, a quiet house, and often no one else awake to help. You're not doing it wrong if it feels impossibly hard. You're doing something that ancient mothers were never expected to do by themselves in the first place.